exciting adventure. If you're new here, I'm Luna the Adventurer, and today we'll be exploring the mystical mushroom lanterns used by tiny creatures like fairies and gnomes to navigate their enchanted world. Let's get to it! As you saw at the very beginning of the video, I'm working from my yellow notebook where I jot down all my ideas related to the daily prompt. For this one, I had only written down the colors of the lanterns and what they represent for the gnomes and fairies, but I hadn't yet decided exactly what to draw. I didn't want to just create simple glowing mushrooms. I wanted to show them in the context in which they would be used. How these lanterns actually help these magical creatures navigate their world. When I started planning the illustration, I ran into a bit of a challenge with the first lantern. I tried out a few different concepts to figure out what would work best, experimenting with different shapes and details until I found something I liked. To help me visualize how everything would fit together, I even sketched out some small miniatures to see how the designs look next to each other. This really helped me get a sense of the overall composition and how the lanterns would interact with the scene. Now, let's explore the different types of lantern fungi that I'm illustrating. There are 4 distinct kinds, each cultivated by gnomes and fairies in specific areas to send important signals. First, we have the purple lantern. These are used to indicate danger, acting as a warning to anyone nearby. Next, the red, pinkish lantern mushroom represent a place where good food is found, acting as a signal for a feast or a safe haven with plenty of delicious provisions. The yellow lantern mushrooms are found in regions inhabited by magical creatures, acting as beacons to mark areas where enchanted beings live. Finally, the blue lantern mushrooms are grown in places where knowledge can be gained, signaling areas of learning where something important can be discovered. Each of these mushrooms plays a vital role in guiding the gnomes and fairies, helping them navigate their world and share messages across the land. Since I'm working with a background, I was afraid to lose the focus. I wanted to make sure it stayed on the lantern mushrooms. So I decided to add little post-it notes beside the illustration to highlight the main subject of the prompt. While brainstorming what to draw, I found it challenging to think of what could represent a danger for gnomes and fairies. It wasn't easy, but I eventually came up with the idea of something that could symbolize the presence of humans. That's when I decided to draw the imprint of a boot in the ground, representing the potential threat humans pose to their world. For the second mushroom, I initially thought about drawing a small garden from which the magical creatures might steal, but I didn't feel like that concept worked. Instead, I envisioned a cozy inn inside a teapot, lit up by these red pinkish mushrooms, creating a warm, inviting scene for the little ones. For the third illustration, I knew right away what I wanted to draw, and it was a mysterious cave, a perfect place for the yellow lantern mushroom, which marks an area inhabited by magical beings. And for the final drawing, I thought it would be fitting to depict a path inside the hollow trunk of an ancient tree, an ideal place for the blue lantern mushrooms, signaling a place where knowledge could be discovered. These illustrations have really helped me bring the unique characteristic of each mushroom to life, while also making sure the focus stays on the mushrooms themselves. As I worked on these illustrations, I thought a lot about the gnomes and fairies who cultivate the lantern mushrooms. In my mind, these small magical creatures aren't just gardeners, of course. They have a deep, respectful connection with nature and the environment around them. I actually touched on this idea in the previous video, where I talked about how these creatures live in harmony with their surroundings, cultivating not only the mushrooms but also a bond with the land that sustains them. The mushrooms they grow aren't merely plants, but tools that help them navigate and communicate with their world. Gnomes, with their love for the earth, tend to the mushrooms with care, cultivating them in areas where they can thrive, whether that's near enchanted caves, mystical tree trunks, or hidden magical realms. They rely on these mushrooms for guidance and safety, and each mushroom serves a different purpose in their world, as we said before. Fairies, on the other hand, are more attuned to the spiritual and magical properties of these mushrooms. They use the light and colors of the mushrooms to create harmony within their surroundings. For example, the red pinkish mushrooms don't just mark places where food is abundant. They create a welcoming aura, a place of warmth and hospitality for other magical beings. The fairies would gather here, drawn by the glowing light, to share stories and celebrate. The interaction between gnomes, fairies, and the mushrooms is all about balance. The gnomes tend to the physical world, growing and protecting the mushrooms, while the fairies bring magic and wisdom to the scene, using the mushrooms to help them maintain harmony in the forest or in their hidden realms. Each mushroom's glow is a signal, whether it's a warning of danger or an invitation for feasting or a beacon to magical creatures. And the gnomes and fairies rely on this natural system to coexist peacefully within their surroundings. One thing I was concerned about when creating these illustrations was making sure the mushrooms were easily recognizable. I worried that they might not be as familiar to people since they are not the classic iconic mushrooms you usually see in illustrations. Except for the purple one, of course, which is actually based on a real species, as all of them. But in the end, I'm really happy with how they turned out, and they are pretty recognizable too. Starting with the purple mushroom, which is called Coprinellus flocculosus. This species is also known as the fluffy ink cup because of its distinctive, delicate white woolly coating. It's a fascinating mushroom that typically grows in decaying plant matter, often near the edges of woodlands or grasslands. Its spores have a distinctive ink-like appearance, which is where the ink cup part of its name comes from. I chose this one for its purple hue and the slightly eerie vibe it gives off, making it a perfect choice to represent danger. The pink reddish mushroom is called Sarcosephia coccinea, or the scarlet elf cup. It's a striking bright red or pink mushroom that typically grows on decaying wood in forests, like the other one. Its vibrant color makes it stand out, and its small cup-like shape resembles a little bowl. I thought this would be a great fit for the mushroom that represents food and abundance, as its bold color captures attention and invites curiosity, and also because it looks like a little bowl. Next up, we have the yellow mushroom, is Cantarellus cibarius, better known as the chanterelle or chanterelle, I don't know. This mushroom is one of the most prized edible fungi in the world due to its delicious flavor and texture. Chanterelles are commonly found in forests, often growing near oak, beech, or pine trees. I chose this mushroom for its warm golden color and its association with enchanted places, as it's known for thriving in woodland environments and has a somewhat magical aura to it. Finally, the blue mushroom is Morchella esculenta, commonly known as the morel. This is another highly sought after edible mushroom, known for its distinctive honeycomb-like appearance. Morels are typically found in forests, especially in spring, and are considered a delicacy in many cuisines. The blue hue I've chosen here, it's exactly typical for this species, but I felt it suited the mystical and knowledge-based theme I was going for. It looks like a little brain. Morels are often found in areas of the forest that hold secrets, making them the perfect representation for a place where important learning happens. As I said before, I was a bit nervous about using these less typical mushrooms as I wasn't sure if they would be as easily identifiable. But now that I see the finished pieces, I feel confident in my choices. Each mushroom has its own personality and connection to the world of gnomes and fairies, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. We are almost at the end of this adventure. Thank you so much for watching. I had an absolute blast drawing these magical lantern mushrooms, and I hope you enjoyed the process just as much as I did. There is something so enchanting about the idea of glowing mushrooms lighting up a forest, don't you think? Which one of these mushrooms is your favorite? Do you like the airy purple fluffy ink cup, or are you drawn to the bright pink scarlet elf cup? Maybe you prefer the golden glow of the chanterelle or the deep blue morel. I'd love to hear which one speaks to you the most. Or if you could design your own magical mushroom, what would it look like? I'm always so excited to hear your creative ideas, so drop them in the comments below, please. If you enjoy this kind of artistic adventure, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to show me some support. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you're enjoying the art we create together. If you want to see more behind the scenes or sneak peeks of upcoming projects, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, where I post even more art and updates. And don't forget to ring that bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload new videos. I can't wait to see what other magical creations we can come up with in the future. Until next time, stay creative and keep creating, adventurers. Bye!